Hi, everyone. I am here with Elliott Ambrose. He is our featured singer-songwriter for today's podcast, and I'm so excited to get to know him a little bit better. And first of all, Elliott, just tell everyone who you are and what you do.
Well, I am a local performer here in the Monteagle area, Monteagle, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And I perform at the Smokehouse on a regular basis, and I perform other places too, up and down the mountain. And I've been up here for about 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
Came from Florida.
So is Florida your hometown?
It was a place I lived for about 20, 30 years.
Okay.
Yeah. I used to perform down in Florida, too. I had a really great band down in Florida.
Okay. Well, let's back up a little bit then and tell us about how all of this songwriting and music really got started with you.
Okay. Well, I was working in Florida. I was an attorney in Florida. Okay. And as most attorneys know, the practice of law is a very stressful enterprise.
Right.
And I needed a distraction, a hobby, and music was the natural choice for me. So I got myself in a country band.
Okay.
And we started performing out. And it was a good way for me to relieve stress and get my mind off the job.
Okay. So I'm assuming that country music then is your favorite music still? Is that still what you do?
Yes, I do traditional country music.
Okay.
A little bit different than what's coming out of Nashville right now.
Well, tell us a little bit about that. Talk to everybody about traditional country music. Like what are the components that you like in it?
The traditional country music, the main thing I think, and anybody that does country music knows this, it's songs that tell stories about faith, family, maybe the struggles of the human condition in rural America, the flyover states, the ranches, the farms, things like this. And it tells stories primarily. And through those stories, you actually preserve the rural, the country culture. And so that's the first element of the country music, I think, that works.
Okay.
The second is, of course, the traditional sound of country music, which is usually the steel guitar, the fiddle, the twang of the Telecaster, things of that nature. And there's, of course, as musicians will know, there's certain progressions that really work with traditional country music. And it is a style of music that appeals to me, I guess, because that's where I grew up. I grew up with it. I grew up in West Virginia and listened to bluegrass, love bluegrass.
Right.
And also listened to a lot of country music. A few years back, many years back now, I really got into Merle Haggard and really liked his style, so I kind of went in that direction.
Okay. So you are a songwriter, or you're a singer-songwriter because you perform a lot of your own written material.
That's correct, yes.
So talk to me about your songwriting craft. We know that you like traditional country music, but how do you go about your songwriting?
How do I go about it? Well, there's several ways. First of all, I want to preface this by saying there's no right way to write a song.
Right.
It's whatever the comes out, whatever the songwriter is comfortable with. I know songwriters, they start with the lyrics first. I know songwriters that start with the melody. And I know songwriters that go back and forth. One of the things I've seen a lot of the songwriters over at the Smokehouse up there at Monteagle is they'll get a line that really sticks in their head, and they'll take that and work it and turn it into a song.
People call that the hook line?
The hook line. And the what has worked for me in the past was coming up with a melody first.
Okay.
And usually how I do that is I play a set of chords, and I hear the melody in the chords. And then from the melody, I kind of like try to understand, okay, what's the mood here? What's this telling me?
Okay.
And then I gradually start building lyrics around the melody.
So the music really speaks to you.
Yes. But I've done it the other way too. I've done it where I've gotten the line first or the lyrics first, and then come up with a melody to fit the lyrics, because the lyrics can tell you basically the mood of the melody too.
Right.
And so what I would say to any songwriter, there's no right or wrong way to do it, but you do have to develop your craft, and you have to keep writing and working on the fundamentals. And I think what would be really helpful for any new songwriter is to understand what the human brain is looking for as far as the arrangement of a song.
Sure.
Or what maybe Nashville is looking for as far as the arrangement of a song. They're looking for something like a short intro, a verse, chorus, maybe verse, chorus, maybe a bridge, maybe a short solo, and then either a chorus and out, or a verse and a chorus out, outro. Make the intros and the outros short, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but you don't want to get hung up too much on the structure, but you should always be aware of what other people are looking for as far as the structure.
Well, I think that, don't you think that that also makes the song more listenable for the audience?
I think the human brain is looking for a certain amount of predictability,
right?
Not monotony, but predictability,
right? And
so they're expecting to hear something akin to the 1-4-5 progression, or the 1-4-2-5 or 1-2-5-4 progression, or things like that. There are certain progressions of chords that it seems like the human brain is very adept at hearing and wants to hear. And when you play those chord arrangements, it appeals to them.
I hear that. So once you have your song, wherever you started, whether it was with the music or the lyrics, when you complete the song, now you're ready to record it. You ready to lay it down? Okay. No. Where do you go from there? I
go back and I usually let it set for a little bit, a week or two.
Okay.
And I come back and listen to it, and then I make a judgment. This is nothing, or oh, this is good. And then what inevitably happens is I go, I got to tighten this up over here, this lyric over here, or this line's not quite right. So I may go through a rewriting process. Okay. Sometimes I get it done. I had an experience with this. I get it done and I say, perfect. But usually I'm going back and looking at the lyrics and saying, this needs to be tightened up.
I need to tweak it here.
This is not quite. I had one time, the only time this has happened, I had a song. It turned out quite well. I woke up at 2:00 in the morning, and I always had this recorder right there by my bedstand, and I had this song in my head, right? And it was the melody and the lyrics, and so I recorded it, and it was like a couple of lines. So I put it down, and I laid back, and then I got some more in my head. So I got back and did some more, and I did that about 5 or 6 times. And I said, man, I got to go to bed. And I finally got to where I thought the song was, and I laid it down. I laid down the recorder, and then the next morning I got up and I was doing a shower, and I remembered, I recorded that song, right? And so when I got out of the shower and was getting ready, I listened to the song. And when I listened to it, it was the complete song, and I didn't change anything.
Wow.
And when I had that, I said, wow, this is really remarkable, because usually it takes a lot more to get that. And so within a week, I was in the studio recording the song, and it turned out quite well.
Okay. So how do you make the choices of where to record that song now that you've got it completed and you're happy with it and you think it's one that you really want to release? Where do you go? How do you make those choices about where to go and record it?
Well, what I did here in Tennessee was when I came up here about 5 years ago, maybe 5.5 years ago. And of course, I scoped out a music store and some of the music scenes, and I asked around.
Okay.
I said, do you know anybody that does recordings back and forth? And one name that popped up was Mike Hedrick down in New Hope, Tennessee, which is just a little bit south of South Pittsburgh.
Yes.
And so I got in touch with him, and I said, well, I'll run the song up the flagpole and see how it sounds. And I recorded a song with him, and the product came out pretty good. And I said, well, this is the guy I'm going to go with.
Yeah.
And so I've been working with him now for about 4 or 5 years.
He is. I do know Mike Hedrick. He's an amazing musician.
He's great. He plays the steel guitar like nobody.
He is so talented.
And he also plays guitar, and he plays a mandolin and
harmonica,
and a slide guitar and everything.
Yeah, dobro.
And he also can hook you up with some professional musicians for the studio.
Absolutely. He is connected.
Yeah,
sure.
He's a very competent, very adept individual that really knows what he's doing.
So the focus of the podcast is about indie artists and indie musicians, indie songwriters and authors. So you are independent. So you basically you're not signed with a record company. But some people say, I don't know if everybody realizes that you can still put out music as an indie artist. You can record, you can songwrite, and you can continue to do it. Yeah. Talk to me about being indie.
Well, that's just a fancy way of saying you don't have a label. Which you read these horror stories about folks who sign with labels and everything.
Absolutely.
And I'm not taking a stand against the label, but sometimes you might be better off without a label.
I think these days a lot of people are making the choice first to be an indie artist rather than to find a label.
Well, a label does offer you certain advantages. You can get to a larger market, and if it's a label that gets behind you, they can advance your career and get you out to a lot more people in the performing world.
Right.
Not so much on the internet. You can do that on your own.
Sure.
On the internet, but it has certain advantages, and I think it has certain disadvantages too. And so you have to really do your homework and decide which way you want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, personally, I think that if the opportunity came to sign with a good label and it was balanced, it was a balanced contract, I would go with a label. Gotcha. But I don't at this point I don't have a really reason to go with the label anyway. But I like just doing. One of the things I like is I like doing my music the way I want to do it.
Absolutely.
So I pick and select the songs I want to do.
And you have the options, and you can make the choices.
That's kind of the definition of independent artist.
It is.
You do your own thing.
It is.
You do your own thing.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about what you've been working on. You have a CD project, and I have it on the clipboard up front here so people can see it.
Yes.
Talk to me about that CD project.
Okay, well, that particular CD is called Back to the Country.
Okay.
Okay, and the concept behind this CD is to go back to the traditional country sound. When I first started this, I said, I'm going to do a traditional country sound.
Okay.
And Mike Hedrick fit into with that perfectly.
He does.
And I remember I called him and I said, I want to do this CD, and I want to do it. I've got these songs, and I want to do it with traditional country. And he says, man, that's right down my alley. So we were a good fit. So what the songs on this CD are basically traditional country. They try to emphasize traditional country, and you'll hear that sound. So some of the songs move a little bit more toward the modern country sound, but it's still very, very traditional.
Okay.
But most of them are all traditional songs. So what I did was I tried to put a honky-tonk country song on there, honky-tonk country songs, love songs, and songs about the people's struggles in rural America and things like that. I got one song on there. I think it's about a truck driver.
Okay.
So I tried to mix it up a little bit and get the whole panorama. So what I tried to do is to try with this CD was I tried to get the whole whole panorama of country music on this song, of what you would hear through the decades from honky-tonk country to love songs to songs about the struggle in rural America, things like that.
Awesome. Now, how do people connect with you and listen to your music? How do they connect with you to find out more about you and where you're going to be and all of that?
Well, I have a YouTube channel. I've got a few songs up there on the YouTube channel, and I've got, you can go to elliotambrose.com.
Okay.
elliotambrose.com, and you can catch my website. And I have a Facebook, but I don't do much with the Facebook.
Okay.
I'm not really a Facebook-oriented individual. Do a little bit with it, but it's more like looking at my. If you look at my website or my YouTube channel, you're going to get a lot more. I perform regularly at the Jim Oliver's Smokehouse in Monteagle.
Okay.
Up there at the top of the mountain, and. I also am this weekend. I'm performing at the Troubadour in Nashville.
Okay.
I'll be there with Ronnie McDowell. Some people may know who Ronnie McDowell is. He's a friend of mine.
Absolutely.
And I'm doing a show. Not with him, but I'm doing a show, and then he's doing it.
But it's great too.
He's the main guy.
But he's such a nice person.
Let me tell you about him, man.
He's such a nice person.
He's a gentleman. His family are the nicest family I've ever seen. I was overwhelmed with how beautiful the family was.
Yes.
But I thought I was pretty good on stage and everything. And the first time I saw Ronnie McDowell perform, man, that guy came out and he took command of that stage. I went like, wow, this guy is really good. He's a really fine performer, and I think very highly of him and his family. He
comes across because he is just an amazing person and kind to everybody, and I think that comes across when he's on stage too. He just really connects with people.
Yeah. He's He's just a very fine human being.
He is.
I really like him.
I'm so glad you have the opportunity to be part of the show where he's going to be. The Troubadour, right?
The Troubadour this weekend.
Now, will you have that on your Facebook page? If people go to find out where you're going to be, will they find that on your Facebook?
I'm not sure. I was going to get some video of it and put it out on the internet and say, "Looky what I done." That's what I was going to do.
Okay. Well, so you perform live. And I was watching some of your videos that you had put out about "Looky What I've Done" on your Facebook.
Looky what I've done, yeah.
And I saw the most interesting little video.
What one was that?
It's about Universal Dance.
The Universal Dance. You got to catch that live. It's a lot funnier live.
Do people actually get up and do that with you?
I've got videos where people get up and do the Universal Dance.
That's amazing.
Just for people who've never seen it. It's a ridiculously stupid.
You guys have to check out the Universal Dance on his Facebook page.
It's a ridiculously silly dance, but I get up and I do that. I do it with one of my songs, and I have a little story I tell with it and get it. And everybody thinks they're going to see something magnificent.
Some great line dance.
It's a silly dance, and everybody laughs at it. But that's part of it. Is you come out and you try to have a good time and enjoy it.
Well, if anybody gets up and does the Universal Dance, I think everybody is going to have a good time.
It's funny how that goes. Sometimes it depends on the venue. Some venues I've got up and I've done the dance and everybody's laughing and they get up and do it with me.
Right.
And then sometimes everybody just laughs and just, they sit still, say, I'm not doing that.
That's true. Every audience is different.
Every audience is different.
No matter where you are, every audience is different.
But the one thing that is universal to use a pun, is that everybody enjoys it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about.
By the way, there is a video of the Universal Dance there. Is it
on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, I think it's on the YouTube channel and the website, so you guys can catch it.
Okay, you guys, this is the cutest thing. The song is great, and it's very humorous, and it's just really, like he said, it's very enjoyable. So please go and check out Elliot's YouTube. I will link it with the information with the podcast, because it's just really cute. The video is cute. The song is really neat.
I've always had a philosophy when I was performing is to try to tear down the wall between the performer and the audience, and like make it all just the same thing, and give them the comfort of saying, we're all a part of the show too.
Exactly. You want them to be a part.
Yeah, I want them to be a part.
You want that feeling that everybody is like connected when you're performing and singing or whatever, especially when you're live and in person.
Yes, if you come to one of my shows up on the Smokehouse, if it's the right show, every audience is different.
Exactly.
But you'll get people actually participating, because sometimes I'll tell jokes and you get people participating in the show.
That's great.
It's quite funny.
Are they there telling their own jokes?
Yeah, and it's fun.
That's funny.
Yeah, if you walk away, if you're done watching my show and you walk away with a smile on your face, I've done
your job, right?
I've done what I'm supposed to do.
So something that you and I have talked about is the community of people here that would love traditional country music. And we've also talked about, we know there is a market overseas. And I've done some other podcasts where people talk about the market of independent country music and overseas, and you'll see those here on the channel. But we know there's a market because there's overseas. People love traditional country music, and if it's great, if it's quality country music, they don't care if it's a brand new song that Elliott Ambrose just released or if it's George Jones. Yeah. They love traditional country music.
Well, I think there's a market here in the United States, but what we don't have is a system to hook everybody up with it anymore. I think we have tens of millions, maybe 40, 50, maybe even 60 million people who would love to hear traditional country music.
I think there are a lot of fans out there.
But there's no central clearinghouse for it in this country anymore, because what's happened is the central clearinghouse was in Nashville, and the traditional country music has been replaced with the modern country. They kind of moved
on, right?
And so they're using, the modern country music scene is using all of the way that the music used to be distributed. So if there were a new distribution system in this country for traditional music, then it would be the same as in Europe.
Right. And I think maybe even through this podcast, we can help connect people that are real traditional country music fans. They can connect to you, and maybe some of the other people on here. We can help create a community.
Yeah, well, that's good. But you'll notice that in Nashville, and this is not a criticism, this is a critique, they don't call themselves Country Music City. They call themselves Music City.
Right.
And that's, I think, done on purpose. Even though they're putting out the modern country sound and everything, they call themselves Music City.
Right, a broader audience, I guess.
Broader audience, and there's a good reason for that, because there is a lot of different music in Nashville, too. So what is really needed in the United States is a place that calls itself Country Music City of the country or something, or in the National Country Music City or something.
Right.
And we don't have that anymore.
Right. We do, this is something else that we had talked about, we have started seeing and hearing more of a Christian country coming into the music as well, on all levels, really. Yeah. And that is, I love traditional country, but done with country Christian.
Well, you have oddly enough, you have Jelly Roll now, who's doing music.
Yes.
You had the performance by Kid Rock, which was just really stunning. I even heard Chris Stapleton performing a religiously oriented song, and I think what's happening, and I don't know how big the movement is, but there is a shift for some artists back toward maybe Christian-oriented music. And because if you think about it, traditional country music in its inception, it sang songs about faith, family, and the struggles of human condition.
It did.
You could hear honky tonk country on a traditional country radio station back in the day, or you could hear a song about, singing about a song of faith too, and that was not unusual in country music.
Right.
What has changed in Nashville with the modern country music sound is that you don't hear very much of that anymore.
Right.
Except that we are seeing a little shift back now.
I think so, and I think if I think back to like Brooks and Dunn's "Believe," just having those songs in the playlist, and I think we're seeing more and more. of that. I
Well,
agree.
I'd like to see more of it because
too.
it does represent the traditional country sound.
It does. It truly does.
Yeah.
So, you're getting ready to be at Jim Oliver's.
We're supposed to. My little team I play with. We're supposed to start at the end of March, early April. We're going to be back up there on a regular basis every Friday.
Every Friday.
Every Friday, the early show, 4:30 to 6:30. We usually do.
Okay.
And then sometimes they put us in the later shows too. But that was usually our slot. Had a pretty successful run last year, and we're looking to do it again.
I'm excited that you're going to be there.
Unless, of course, I go out on the road for my world tour.
Okay. You're going to keep us posted, right?
If I go on a world tour, I'll let you know.
We knew you win, Elliot. We knew you win.
Yeah.
I've had such a fun time talking to you. I am excited that you're going to be out and performing. I'm going to share your links with everyone. And is there anything else you would like to share with everybody that we didn't talk about?
Well, I'm going to be doing the Troubadour, like I said. I'll be putting up a video of the Troubadour when we do it, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it'll go well, and they won't run me out on the rail.
Do the universal dance as you.
I intend to do the universal dance and see what kind of reaction I get in Nashville. I've played in Nashville multiple times at places like the Commodore and stuff. So it's kind of old hat, but the Troubadour is new. But I'm proud to be playing there, and I'm hoping to do well. You know,
one thing we had not talked about, but. Mike and I had talked about Mike Hedrick that you record with once. I asked Mike, I said, does this ever go away? I mean, the want to write and the want to sing and do your music. I asked him, I'm like, Mike, does this ever go away? And this was years ago. And he said, Tammy, he said, if it's real, it never goes away.
It seems like it's just woven into the fabric of who you are.
It is. It absolutely is.
And I've asked myself before many times, why am I doing this? Because sometimes it can be quite frustrating,
Right.
And I'm going, why? And I don't have an answer except it's just part of who I am. You just keep doing it.
And thank you for your CD, and we're going to make sure people have links to get in touch with you and to show up at your shows, to do the dance with you and participate, and just so they can connect with you. And if they want to get your CD, they can do that. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Well, you're quite welcome.
I'm so excited that I got to meet and get to know you.
Thank you for having me.